You're here because you've already committed to taking control of your life, your career, and your success. And right now, I want to congratulate you. Not everyone makes it to this point. Most people get stuck on their excuses, their doubts, or the voices in their heads telling them they don't have what it takes. But you've chosen differently. That's why you're still here. By any means necessary. You may have heard that quote from Malcolm X before. Its true essence is about seizing the power within yourself to make necessary changes, regardless of the challenges or opposition. You've been setting yourself up to shift your mindset and reprogram the way you approach your goals. Let's dive into the way the mind works. Your mind, like a computer, can be reprogrammed. Your brain processes information and runs systems, and just like a computer, it has the potential to slow down if it's not taken care of properly. Think of all the times you've updated your phone or computer. New updates fix bugs and improve performance. Well, your mind works similarly. If you don't consistently update your mind with new knowledge and perspectives, it starts to stagnate. It gets stuck in old ways of thinking, much like outdated software. Imagine trying to run today's high-performance software on an old Windows XP machine. It's just not going to work. Similarly, you can't use outdated ways of thinking to tackle the challenges of today's competitive music industry. You need to constantly update your mental software through courses, reading, and staying open to fresh ideas. This isn't just about your music, it's about how you approach your career and your mindset. You're learning how to become not just a musician, but a music marketer, someone who knows how to craft their brand effectively. Even when you don't feel ready, you've got to put yourself out there. Don't wait until everything is perfect to take action. Start where you are with what you have. That's not just a motivational quote, that's a strategy. We're back, and you've made it this far, which says something about your commitment. Most people drop off when the road gets tough, but you're hungry for change. You're ready to get it by any means necessary. Now, let me tell you something personal. This isn't about some Hollywood-type drama, it's about taking control of your own situation and rewriting the story in your head. Remember what I said about the mind? It's like a central core processor that needs regular updates. Let me hit you with a story. There's a guy I know who grew up in Detroit, a rough city with a tough life. When he was in his 20s, he ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time. Someone mistook him for somebody else, pulled a gun, and shot him in the back. Then they stood over him and shot him again in the head, leaving him for dead. Years later, he told me this story. By a miracle, he survived. The doctors saved him, but he lost an entire hemisphere of his brain. Most people would think he was done, but today, he's walking, talking, and taking care of his family. He's fully functional with half a brain. So I ask you, if this man can keep pushing forward with what he's got, what excuse do you have? You don't need to be a tech genius. You just need to keep updating your capabilities. Learn what you don't know. The tools are right in front of you. You are stepping into the role of a music marketer. You have the music and the talent, now it's time to use strategy to get the world to listen. Think of it like a flea market. You're not just browsing, you're negotiating. Or think of a casino, the dealer doesn't deal you in until you've put your money on the table. You're in the game now, and I'm going to start dealing you the cards of marketing. You are a strategist who is going to shape the narrative and draw people in. Don't sit there with outdated software. It's time to get moving. Now, let's talk about strategy in its purest form. Have you ever heard of Archimedes? He was a Greek mathematician who famously said, "Give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the world." This is the essence of what we are doing here. You don't need more strength, you need a better lever. In the music business, your strategy is that lever. Many artists think they just need to work harder, record more songs, or spend more hours in the booth. But without a lever, without a plan to move the weight of the market, you're just pushing against a mountain with your bare hands. Strategy allows you to move massive obstacles with minimal effort once you understand where to place your pressure. Let's look at the market. Most people approach the music industry like a consumer. They see the glitz, the glamour, and the finished product. But as a strategist, you must look at it like a producer. You aren't just looking at the idea of being a star, you are looking at the ideal version of your business. Think about two people, let's call them Tasha and Tom. Tasha has an incredible voice and spends all her time perfecting one song. She's waiting for a big break. Tom, on the other hand, understands leverage. He spends time building a small but dedicated community, capturing emails, and creating a funnel. While Tasha is waiting for the world to notice her, Tom is moving the world because he built a lever. You have to decide which one you are going to be. Are you going to be the one pushing the mountain, or the one using the lever? You have the music. You have the talent. Now, let's make sure you have the strategy to back it up. We are moving from the what to the how. Imagine you're sitting at a casino table, ready to play. The dealer won't deal you in until you've put your money on the table. That's the reality of life and business too. You don't get a seat at the table until you've made the decision to invest in yourself, whether it's time, effort, or resources. This brings us to the difference between an idea and an ideal. Having an idea is great, it's the initial spark of inspiration, but without action, it's just a thought. An ideal, on the other hand, is when you take that idea and turn it into a strategy, something you actively pursue. Let's dive into a principle from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, the law of imagination. Hill talks about how powerful your creative imagination can be. It is where you generate ideas and where your mind starts to envision what you want. But here's the catch, imagination only becomes useful when it's realistic and grounded. Imagining yourself flying to the moon doesn't make you an astronaut, but imagining how to take realistic steps towards your goals? That's where the magic happens. Take Tasha as an example. She's 30, single, and has been singing in church and school choirs her whole life. She's got the basics down and is now ready to take her passion to the next level by recording a demo. She doesn't have distractions holding her back. She's set up for success because she has leverage built through years of momentum and experience. Compare this to Tom, who's 35, spends his days watching YouTube videos, and suddenly decides he wants to become a doctor. Tom has no experience, no groundwork, and no discipline. It's not impossible for him to achieve his goal, but the journey will be much harder because he lacks that critical leverage. Leverage is everything when it comes to success. It tilts the odds in your favor. So, how do you get that leverage? Start with small wins. Just like Tasha, build on what you already know and start applying it in a practical way. Use your imagination, but keep it realistic. Leverage will push you forward and give you the advantage in any situation. Let's look closer at Tom's situation. Tom is 35, and while he has big dreams, he spends most of his time consuming content rather than creating it. He lacks the discipline and the groundwork. This is where the Mastermind Principle comes into play. Napoleon Hill defined the mastermind as the coordination of knowledge and effort, in a spirit of harmony, between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. Tom doesn't have a mastermind. He's trying to do it all alone with an outdated mental map. Success isn't a solo sport. Even Andrew Carnegie, one of the wealthiest men in history, attributed his entire fortune not to his own personal knowledge of the steel business, but to his ability to surround himself with a mastermind group of men who knew more about steel than he did. You have to ask yourself, who is in your circle? Are you surrounding yourself with people who challenge your software or people who keep you stuck in your old version? If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. You need to leverage the experience of others to accelerate your own growth. This is why we focus on the ideal rather than just the idea. The ideal version of your career involves a network, a strategy, and a relentless commitment to improvement. Don't be like Tom, waiting for a miracle while running on a system that hasn't been updated in a decade. Be like Carnegie. Build your team, focus your imagination, and use the leverage of collective knowledge. When you combine a clear vision with a mastermind group, you create an unstoppable force. You transition from being a spectator to being the person holding the cards. The game changes because you changed the way you play it. Now, we move into one of the most critical principles for your success, specialized knowledge. Most people are taught to be a jack of all trades. They know a little bit about a lot of things, but they aren't masters of anything. In the modern economy, especially in the music industry, general knowledge is abundant and cheap. It's specialized knowledge that is rare and valuable. Think about a general practitioner versus a brain surgeon. Both are doctors, but the surgeon has spent years focusing on one specific, high-stakes area. Because of that focus, they are in much higher demand and command a much higher fee. You must apply the same logic to your home recording business. What is your brain surgery? Is it your vocal mixing? Is it your ability to arrange soul pop fusions? Or is it your mastery of marketing strategy? Once you identify your specialty, you must dive deep into it. As Napoleon Hill noted, knowledge only becomes power when it is organized and intelligently directed through practical plans of action toward a definite end. Don't just collect information for the sake of knowing things. Collect the specific information that moves your business forward. When you specialize, you stop competing with everyone and start playing a game where you are the only expert. You become the go-to person for a specific result. Ask yourself today, what is the one skill I can master that will make me indispensable? Once you find it, update your software daily in that specific area. That is how you build a six-figure blueprint. We've talked about specialized knowledge, but there is one quality that acts as the master key to unlocking it: persistence. Napoleon Hill identifies persistence as the essential factor in the procedure of transforming the desire for success into its monetary or professional equivalent. Most people are starters, but very few are finishers. Think about the dip. In any new venture, whether it's mastering a new DAW or launching a marketing campaign, there is an initial period of excitement, followed by a long, difficult stretch where results seem slow. This is where most of your competition will quit. They'll tell themselves the market is too crowded or they don't have the right gear. But as a strategist, you know that the dip is actually a barrier to entry that keeps the amateurs out. Persistence is not about blindly repeating the same mistakes, it's about applied persistence. It's the ability to pivot your tactics while remaining unshakable in your goal. If one marketing funnel doesn't work, you don't quit the business, you analyze the data, update your software, and try a new angle. Remember, there is no such thing as failure, only feedback. Every no from a potential client and every campaign that underperforms is simply a lesson in what to adjust for the next round. You have to be willing to outlast the discomfort. If you can stay in the game longer than the person next to you, you've already won half the battle. Your persistence is the insurance policy for your success. It ensures that no matter how many times the industry changes or how many obstacles appear, you will eventually find the lever that fits your world. Now, we must understand the engine that drives all your actions, the subconscious mind. Napoleon Hill teaches us that the subconscious mind is the connecting link between the finite mind of man and infinite intelligence. It is the intermediary through which you can draw upon the forces of the universe to manifest your desires. Think of your subconscious as a silent partner that never sleeps. It doesn't judge, it simply accepts whatever software you feed it. If you constantly tell yourself that the industry is too hard or that you aren't good enough, your subconscious will work tirelessly to make that your reality. It will find reasons for you to procrastinate and excuses for you to quit. However, when you deliberately plant a definite chief aim into your subconscious, it begins to automate your success. It starts to alert you to opportunities you would have otherwise missed. It gives you flashes of intuition, those magician moments where the right melody or the perfect marketing angle suddenly appears out of nowhere. To master this, you must guard the gateway of your mind. Stop consuming bugs and viruses from negative people or stagnant environments. Instead, feed your system with the ideal version of your future every single day. Use your specialized knowledge and your persistence to give your subconscious clear instructions. When your conscious plans and your subconscious beliefs are in total alignment, you stop fighting yourself. You move from effort to flow. You become a strategist who doesn't just work hard, but works with the power of a deep, internal system that is programmed for a six-figure reality. Now, let's talk about the silent killer of the home studio: procrastination. Napoleon Hill's analysis of over 25,000 men and women showed that lack of decision was near the head of the list of the 31 major causes of failure. Successful people reach decisions promptly and change them slowly, if at all. Unsuccessful people reach decisions slowly and change them frequently and quickly. In the music world, this looks like waiting for the perfect gear, the perfect mix, or the perfect time to launch. But as a strategist, you understand that a good decision executed now is better than a perfect decision executed never. Indecision is a bug in your software that drains your battery and slows your processing speed. You must also master the law of time. Time is the only resource you cannot replenish. Think about how you spend your hours. Are you busy or are you productive? There is a massive difference. Being busy is running in place. Being productive is moving the lever. To move into the six-figure bracket, you must decide to prioritize the tasks that actually generate revenue and growth. Stop tweaking the snare drum for 5 hours if your marketing funnel isn't even built yet. Make the decision to focus on the high-leverage activities. When you become a person of quick, firm decision, you signal to your subconscious and to the market that you are a leader. You stop asking for permission and start creating your own reality. The clock is ticking. What is the one decision you've been putting off? Make it today. We have touched on the mastermind, but now we must understand its mechanics. When two or more people coordinate their knowledge and effort toward a definite purpose, something incredible happens. Napoleon Hill called it the third mind. It's as if a third, invisible, intangible force, a mind greater than the sum of its parts, enters the room. This is the secret of the world's most successful producers and entrepreneurs. They don't rely solely on their own brainpower. They leverage the third mind created by their inner circle. If you are struggling to solve a problem in your studio or your marketing, it's likely because you're trying to solve it with a single mind. Imagine a group of 3 musicians. One is a master of sound engineering, one is a genius at social media marketing, and the third is a networking expert. When they align their goals, they don't just have 3 skills, they have a powerhouse of collective intelligence. They move faster, see pitfalls before they happen, and generate ideas that none of them could have conceived alone. This is why your environment is so critical. If your current circle isn't feeding your third mind, they are draining it. You must be intentional about who you let into your mental space. Seek out people who have the specialized knowledge you lack. Be willing to contribute your own value to the group. When you harness the power of the mastermind, you stop being a lone wolf and start becoming the conductor of a high-performance orchestra. You aren't just working for a 6-figure income, you are building the infrastructure that makes it inevitable. Now, we must address the hardware of your success, your environment. Just as a high-end microphone is useless in a room with a loud air conditioner and thin walls, your mental software will glitch if your environment is filled with noise. This is the law of the controlled environment. You are a product of your surroundings. If you are working in a space that is cluttered, disorganized, or filled with people who don't understand your vision, you are forcing your brain to use up valuable processing power just to filter out the static. To reach a 6-figure level, you must become the architect of your own space. This isn't just about soundproofing your studio, it's about soundproofing your life. You need to create a sanctuary of strategy. This is a place, physical or mental, where the outside world cannot reach you. When you are in this space, you are not a consumer, a friend, or a neighbor, you are a creator. Protect your creative frequency at all costs. If you find that certain social media feeds, news cycles, or even friends are bringing bugs into your system, you have to hit the delete key. You cannot build a high-performance career on a low vibrational frequency. Control what comes in, so you can control what goes out. When you dominate your environment, you gain the clarity needed to see the levers that others miss. You aren't just reacting to the world anymore, you are commanding it. Now, we explore one of the most misunderstood yet powerful principles in Napoleon Hill's philosophy, the transmutation of energy. Transmutation is simply the act of changing one element or form of energy into another. In the context of your career, it is the ability to take your raw desires, your frustrations, and even your intense emotions, and channel them into creative and productive output. Think of a steam engine. The steam itself is just vapor. But when it is compressed and directed through a piston, it can move a train weighing hundreds of tons. Your emotions are that steam. If you let them dissipate, they do nothing. If you let them leak out through negativity or distractions, they actually lose you power. But if you compress that energy and focus it entirely on your work, on your recording, your mixing, and your marketing, you create a force that is irresistible. This is how the greatest artists and strategists achieve a flow state. They aren't working harder, they are simply using a higher grade of fuel. They've learned to take the energy that most people waste on trivial things and redirect it toward their definite chief aim. You have a reservoir of energy inside you right now. The question is, where is it going? Is it leaking out into doubts and old habits, or are you transmuting it into the ideal version of your business? When you learn to direct your internal power toward your specialized knowledge, you become a high-performance machine. You move the lever not with muscle, but with the focused energy of your entire being. Now, let's take the Mastermind Principle and apply it to the world you live in today, the digital landscape. In the past, a mastermind was limited by who you could physically meet in a room. Today, your mastermind is global. Your online presence, your social media, your website, and your digital footprint is the front door to your professional network. As a music marketer and strategist, you must realize that your digital identity is either attracting the right collaborators or repelling them. When you post, are you contributing value to the collective third mind of the industry, or are you just adding to the noise? To reach a six-figure income, you must use your online presence as a tool for high-level association. Follow the leaders in your niche. Engage with the specialists who have the knowledge you're looking for. But don't just be a consumer, be a contributor. Share your specialized knowledge. When you show the world that you have a magician's mastery over your craft, you attract other high performers. Your digital mastermind allows you to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. You can learn from mentors you've never met and build partnerships across oceans. But remember, the law of association still applies. If your digital environment is filled with low-effort content and negativity, your software will reflect that. Curate your feed like you curate your studio. Make your online world a reflection of the ideal version of your career. Now, we must understand a fundamental principle that governs every successful career, the law of the harvest. This law states that you can never reap what you have not first sown. In the digital age, many people want the harvest immediately, the six-figure income, the viral hit, the packed studio, without respecting the seed time. Think of your home recording business like a farm. Your seeds are your hours of practice, the content you create, and the relationships you build. Your soil is your mindset and your community. If you plant high-quality seeds in fertile soil, a harvest is inevitable, but it cannot be rushed. You cannot scream at a seed to grow faster, you can only provide the right environment and wait. As a strategist, you must learn to distinguish between the season of planting and the season of reaping. If you try to harvest too early, by trying to monetize a skill you haven't mastered or selling to an audience you haven't nurtured, you kill the crop. Conversely, if you don't plant during the right season because you're waiting for perfect weather, you'll have nothing to eat when winter comes. Use this time to plant aggressively. Record the tracks, learn the marketing algorithms, and provide value to your mastermind. Don't be discouraged if you don't see green shoots tomorrow. Trust the system. If your software is updated and your energy is transmuted into the work, the law of the harvest guarantees that the results will follow. Respect the process. Do the work today so that your future self can enjoy the abundance. The harvest is coming for those who refuse to stop planting. To master the six-figure blueprint, you must understand the law of rhythm. Everything in the universe, and especially in the music industry, moves in a sequence of ebbs and flows. There are high tides where every song you release hits, every client books, and every marketing campaign converts. But there are also low tides, where things seem quiet and the momentum slows down. Most artists fail because they get emotionally destroyed by the low tide. They think the music is over or that they've lost their touch. But as a strategist, you recognize that rhythm is a natural part of the system. When you are in a high tide season, that is the time to work with maximum intensity and save your resources. When the low tide hits, that is your time for deep study, gear maintenance, and updating your software. Think of it like the seasons. You don't panic when winter comes, you just put on a coat and prepare the soil for spring. In your home studio, use the quiet times to refine your specialized knowledge. If the phone isn't ringing, that is the universe giving you time to become a better mixer or a sharper marketer. Don't let the rhythm dictate your mood, let it dictate your strategy. By staying consistent through the highs and the lows, you build a foundation that is unshakable. You are not a victim of the industry's waves, you are the surfer who knows exactly how to ride them. When you master the rhythm, you gain a level of peace and professional poise that the amateurs will never understand. Now, we must confront the most practical law of the six-figure blueprint, the law of service. This law is simple but absolute. Your income will always be in direct proportion to the value of the service you provide and the number of people you serve. Many artists focus on what they want to get: the money, the fame, the bookings, but the strategist focuses entirely on what they can give. Think about your home studio. You aren't just selling studio time or a mix. You are selling a transformation. You are helping an artist bring their vision to life. You are providing the professional polish that gives them the confidence to share their heart with the world. The higher the quality of that service, and the more unique your specialized knowledge, the more the market will reward you. In the 48 Laws of Strategy, we emphasize that to increase your wealth, you must increase your utility. Are you the most reliable person in your niche? Do you offer a magician's level of creative problem solving that no one else can match? When you become indispensable to others, you never have to worry about money. Stop chasing dollars and start chasing problems to solve. Look at the music industry not as a hurdle, but as a collection of needs waiting to be met. When you align your talents with the needs of others, you create a vacuum that success must rush in to fill. The law of service ensures that the more you contribute to the success of others, the more inevitable your own success becomes. Now, let's look at the law of compensation. This law is the twin to the law of service, but it carries a specific secret for those aiming for the six-figure mark: the habit of rendering more and better service than that for which you are paid. Most people in the music industry do exactly what they are paid for and not a second more. They punch the clock, they deliver the bare minimum, and then they wonder why their career is stagnant. As a strategist, you must adopt a different software. When you go above and beyond for a client, when you give them that extra mixing tweak they didn't ask for, or share a marketing tip that helps their release go further, you are not losing time. You are making a deposit into the bank of the universe. The law of compensation states that this extra effort will eventually come back to you, often multiplied, from sources you might not even expect. This is how you build a reputation that precedes you. In a world of good enough, being extraordinary makes you a magnet for high-level opportunities. You aren't just a technician in a home studio, you are a partner in your client's success. Remember, the person who does more than they are paid for will soon be paid for more than they do. By consistently providing over-delivery, you trigger a psychological response in your network that leads to referrals, loyalty, and premium pricing. You are setting yourself up for a return on investment that far outweighs the initial effort. Keep going the extra mile, that is where the road is never crowded. Now, we arrive at the master key of your career: personal influence. In the music business, your talent gets you in the door, but your influence determines how long you stay and how much you're worth. Napoleon Hill spoke of a pleasing personality as a critical asset, but for the modern strategist, this goes deeper: it's about your brand identity. Think about your magician archetype. A magician doesn't just perform a trick, they command the room through mystery, expertise, and a sense of wonder. Your brand is the emotional shorthand that people use to describe you when you aren't in the room. If your brand is reliable, creative, and transformative, your influence grows automatically. Influence is not about manipulation, it's about alignment. When people trust your vision and your specialized knowledge, they are willing to follow your lead. This is why your visual branding, your symbols, your script, and your presentation is so important. It communicates your level of professionalism before you even play a single note. To unlock this master key, you must be intentional about every signal you send out. Are your emails professional? Is your social media consistent? Does your magician brand feel authentic and high-level? When you master your personal influence, you stop selling and start attracting. Clients and collaborators will seek you out because they want to be a part of the world you've created. You have the power to shape how the industry perceives you. Use that power wisely. When your influence matches your talent, you become an unstoppable force in the marketplace. Now, we must master the law of accurate thought. This is the ability to separate facts from information and wishful thinking from reality. In the music industry, there is a massive amount of noise, people telling you what's hot, what gear you need, or how the industry is dying. An accurate thinker filters all of this through a very specific lens. Does this help me reach my definite chief aim? Many artists fall into the trap of wishful thinking. They believe that if they just keep doing the same things, one day they'll get a different result. They treat their career like a lottery ticket rather than a business. But a strategist doesn't play the lottery. You look at the data. If a marketing campaign isn't working, you don't hope it gets better. You analyze why it failed and adjust your strategy. Accurate thought requires you to be brutally honest with yourself. Is your specialized knowledge actually at a six-figure level yet? Is your magician branding truly consistent across all platforms? If the answer is no, that's not a failure, it's a fact you can use to improve. To think accurately, you must also recognize the difference between an idea and an ideal. An idea is a floating thought, an ideal is a thought backed by a plan and anchored in reality. When you base your decisions on facts and logical strategy, you stop being a dreamer and start being a builder. Guard your mind against opinions that aren't based on results. Surround yourself with your mastermind, use your specialized knowledge, and keep your thinking sharp. Accurate thought is the compass that keeps you on the path to your six-figure goal, even when the fog of the industry gets thick. Finally, we reach the ultimate principle, cosmic habit force. This is the law that makes your success permanent. Napoleon Hill described it as the law that maintains the equilibrium of the entire universe, the stars in their courses and the seasons in their order. In your life, it is the force that takes your repeated actions and turns them into an unbreakable rhythm of success. You have spent this time updating your software and refining your strategy. But for these changes to stick, they must become habits. When your magician branding, your specialized knowledge, and your persistence move from being conscious efforts to being automatic responses, you have harnessed cosmic habit force. At this level, you no longer have to struggle for success. Success becomes the natural path of least resistance for you. This is how you build a legacy. You are no longer just a musician or a digital creator, you are a force within the industry. Your definite chief aim is no longer a dream on a page, it is a reality in the world. People will look at your six-figure home studio and your global influence and call it magic, but you will know the truth. You will know it was the result of the lever, the mastermind, and the laws you have mastered today. The journey doesn't end here. It simply enters a new phase. You have the tools, the strategy, and the mindset. Now, go out and command your environment. Move the world with your lever. Your ideal is waiting for you to claim it. The transformation is complete.